You don't want any part of this. It's Harmless Phosphorescence. Hello, everyone. This is Boozy Manchild Throw Smiley. Who's joining me this week?
I'm Josh Cece. I'm very strong and I'm sticky.
I'm Brian Lesh, and I think this is going to be really culturally enriching for us, guys.
Oh, I'm Alaric Weber.
And this is
that was one of them.
Oh.
I was born to say this word.
Oh.
Oh knows.
This is Harmless Phosphorescence. It's the podcast where we watch every theatrically released full-length live-action superhero movie ever made. We gather some research into the production and the source material, then we tell you all about it. This show is brought to you by our patrons. Patrons like executive producer Michael Beckwith and Atticus Burkett. You can be a patron too. Head on over to patreon.com/harmlessentertainment. We got a lot of bonus content there. We got Star Wars shows, holiday shows, music shows. We've got weekly shows coming out for you, and the monthly movie, July's monthly movie, was our most recent one. What did we do in July?
Logan's
Run. How did I forget that? That was like 3 weeks ago. Logan's Run. In August, we're going to be doing Cabin Boy, which is a courtesy of executive producer Michael Beckwith. Cabin Boy coming up in August. That'll be out for you in a couple weeks here. This week, though, on Harmless Phosphorescence, we're watching Spider-Man Far From Home.
Everywhere I go, I see his face. I just really miss him.
Yeah, I miss him too. I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your jobs.
Oh.
I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work.
Because I am going on vacation.
Heads up. Nick Fury's calling you.
I don't really want to talk to Nick
Answer
Fury.
the phone.
Why?
Because if you don't talk to him, then I have to talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
I gotta go.
You do not ghost Nick Fury.
What up, Dorks? What's up? We're just talking about the trip.
I'm here in St. Marco Polo.
Oh, I think MJ really likes me.
That reminds me when I first fell in love.
You're a very difficult person to contact, Spider-Man. This is Mr. Beck.
We could have used someone like you on my world.
Your world?
Beck is from Earth, just not ours. The snap tore a hole in our dimension.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We have a job to do, and you're coming with us.
There's gotta be someone else you can use. What about Thor?
Off-world.
Captain Marvel? Unavailable. But I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
What do you want, Peter?
I want to go back on my trip with the girl who I really like and tell her how I feel. MJ, I
am Spider-Man.
No, of course I'm not.
I mean, it's kind of obvious.
You're right, you may not be ready, but this is my responsibility. Saving the world requires sacrifice. Sometimes people die.
Oh my God.
I just always feel like I'm putting my friends in danger. The world needs the next Iron Man.
You're going to step up or not?
I gotta get you guys out of here. Get on the jet. Who are you? I work with Spider-Man.
You work for Spider-Man?
I work with Spider-Man, not for Spider-Man. New plan.
Spider-Man Far From Home. Released on July 2nd, 2019, with a running time of 129 minutes, cost $160 million, and made $1.132 billion.
Andrea mentioned it was the current Marvel movie out in theaters when we began this This little venture of ours.
It was the last movie on our list released before we started doing this podcast. It was in theaters at the time. Yeah. Which means every movie after this wasn't on our list when we started.
Wow.
And the mention of Endgame, we started right after Endgame, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's and it's been almost exactly 3 years since we've been doing this.
What if COVID was an after effect of the blip?
The blip. I still can't get over that they chose the blip as the name for the thing instead of the
Honestly,
snap.
I love that choice.
It works, but it is funny.
It diminishes it. It shows coping through humor kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it's the kind of thing where it's like, what everyone assumes the name of something is going to be doesn't end up being what they refer to it as. Like at the beginning, everyone was talking about coronavirus, and then within like 2 months, it's just COVID.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man Far From Home did make quite a bit of money, which means it's time for us to do the box office top 10 game. This is the game where I will describe the top 10 movies of the week of July 2nd, 2019, using only the Box Office Mojo descriptions, except where I don't. And the guys here are going to try to guess the movie. This is actually the week of 28th through the 4th, because they released it on a Tuesday instead of a Friday, like every other movie that's ever been made. They did that because it was a long weekend coming up that started at the July 4th weekend started prior to the weekend, because July 4th was like on a Thursday or something. And also because then they got to run the headline, Spider-Man Far From Home, #1 Tuesday release of all time.
I don't know why more movies don't do that. I remember thinking that after they did that, like, if I had like a middling hit that I knew was going to do well, but wasn't going to be the biggest movie ever, I'd open it on a Monday. Yeah. Monday afternoon,
Biggest Monday release ever. Yeah. Exactly. This is what's interesting is that because of that, it wasn't the top movie of the week, its release week. Because the other movies, there was a movie that was almost as big that came out the week prior that was got 2 extra days in the week. So we'll get to that as we do the box office top 10. You guys ready to play?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right. Here we go at number 10 this week. A musical fantasy about a fantastical human story. I'm leaving it at that.
Sorry, one more time.
This is word for word. I'm just leaving off the end of the sentence. That spoils it. A musical fantasy about a fantastical human story.
It's not Coco.
Oh God.
Did they re-release Hedwig and the Angry Inch?
No, but
Cats?
No, God, no, that's not out for another like 6 months.
A human story.
This is all right. I'll give you guys a huge hint. It's a biopic.
Oh, is this the Elton John one?
Yep. Which was called
Garfield.
The Elton John Garfield. The Elton John story.
Time. Rocketman.
Rocketman. Yes, Taron Egerton as Elton John in Rocketman.
God, I hope he becomes Wolverine.
That would be great. Yeah.
Elton John.
Elton John as Wolverine.
Little did you know he could sing and play piano too. We knew he could dance.
He just like shows up in his Donald Duck costume or his carnival.
He's like, do you remember when mutants were young? Me and Professor X had so much fun.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
All right. At number 9, I'm just leaving off the ends of sentences on these today. This is great. Number 9, a mother gives her 13-year-old son a toy doll for his birthday.
This is a Chucky one, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just
they did
Chucky? I forget what it's Child's Play Mark Hamill version.
Yeah, it's just Child's Play. It was a reboot.
Okay.
Forgot Mark Hamill was the voice of Chucky.
Wow.
In the reboot.
Is still alive.
Yeah.
I wonder if he just didn't want to do it. He is still.
I think on the reboot they just wanted to be able to say Mark Hamill as
Luke Skywalker is Charles. I mean,
at number 8. Okay. At number 8. A group.
Are you gonna leave off the front of the sentence this time?
The middle.
Okay. After the devastating events, the universe is in ruins.
Infinity War or in Endgame.
Endgame. Yeah. Endgame. Yeah. Still. That's been out 10 weeks at this point, and it's still hanging on there. That's actually old school movie kind of hanging in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At number 7. Oof. Okay. Thor and Valkyrie and a pug.
Oh, Men in Black. Just Men in Black. Is it the reboot?
It is. It's Men in Black International.
Oh, Internacional.
I never saw this. Was this any good?
I can't remember if I saw it. Which is ironic because they have that memory erasing device.
I didn't see it. I heard it was not good. But I don't know. We might do it someday. Men in Black is a series that is on our series list as a possibility.
I'm into it.
Yeah, first one's
great. At number 6, the continuing story of Max and his friends. This is animated. It does not star Louis C.K.
Oh, the Secret Life of Pets? Or Super Pets?
No, you got it.
2?
Secret Life of Pets 2. The first one was Louis C.K. And then he, all of that, and they recast him.
Interesting. I didn't even see the first one. I didn't know that was a Louis C.K. thing.
I saw the first one because Jude was that age at the time. It was not great. It was not great.
It's a DreamWorks animated movie.
Yeah.
It's, 1 out of 3 are okay.
Yeah, exactly. Ugh. Okay. At number 5, a kind-hearted street urchin.
Aladdin.
Yep.
With the Uncanny Valley Will Smith.
Yeah,
genie,
yes.
which I have avoided watching.
Will Smurf.
Will Smurf.
Oh, yeah. At number 3. Oh, God. While babysitting the daughter of a couple, a teenager and her friends play with a doll.
Annabelle?
Child's Play.
No. Brian's got it. Which Annabelle?
2. Child's Play 2.
Yeah.
Child's Play 2. We're going out.
They released them simultaneously.
This one is called. This one is called Annabelle Comes Home, which is was she with Benji?
There's so many Annabelle. So weird.
Annabelle Comes Home sounds like it's like an American Doll movie or something.
Right. Annabelle Creation. I don't know. Who's afraid of a doll?
At number 2 this week. Yeah. Hey, there were 2 scary doll movies this week. What the hell?
Yeah.
At number.
It's the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
Yep.
I guess.
Give them what they want.
Kids love scary dolls. Let's have some more of them. At number 2 this week. Look, kids. Big Ben, Parliament.
Far From Home.
Yeah. Opening at number 2. And what it opened at Oh boy. It's another movie about dolls.
No.
Yep.
Transformers?
No.
G.I. Joe's
movie?
It's another movie which features dolls as main characters.
Toy Story 4.
Yes, you got it.
Holy shit. Wow.
Yeah, nice.
Which I enjoyed immensely. I was surprised at how,
it was
how
good.
much I enjoyed
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Toy Story. Absolutely.
It had mixed reviews as far as I was aware.
It did.
But
It was all like, it's not as good as the other three.
It didn't make me weep like the third one. The second one was middling, you know.
I think the second one's a little underrated, but it's not as good as the first. But Toy Story 3, yeah, like I was a baby in the theater.
Yeah, seriously, the last 15 minutes just turning the screws slowly.
Yeah, I was like, why do the kids have to grow up? That is our box office top 10 for the week, which brings us to the comic and character background, Mr. Weber. Professor Weber, tell us the things we need to know.
You don't need to call me professor. I don't have my comic book doctorate.
Yet.
Not with that attitude.
Yeah.
Yet.
Well, I mean, you're professor like a Professor Peabody. It's honorary.
Like Gilligan's Island.
Yeah, it's an honorary title.
Al, are you aware you have a theme song? I know you guys haven't listened to the show live in a while.
I have a theme song?
Yeah, you have a theme song.
Shit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's playing right now on the main feed.
Okay, so I'm going to have to listen now. Dang. I think we only had one new character this week, and that would be Mysterio, a.k.a. Quentin Beck. Created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, first appeared in The Amazing Spider-Man number 13, June of 1964. So
everybody drink early for Stan and Steve.
Mysterio has primarily been depicted as an enemy of Spider-Man and Daredevil, and was a founding member of the Sinister Six.
I wonder how he uses his tricks against Daredevil. Seems to be very visual in the comics.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Lots of smells and sounds.
Yeah.
From what I was reading, he spent a lot of time attacking Daredevil's friends as well.
That's fair.
On Twitter.
Let's see. Mysterio does not possess any superhuman abilities. Rather, he is a special effects expert, illusionist, and actor. But his attempts at acting were not well received, so he decided to use his FX talents to make money in the crime business.
The crime business.
Yeah.
And business is booming.
I love it's a business.
I am the CEO of crime. No, you're not. You're the CFO.
Damn it.
That's fair.
Who's the CEO? We're going to control the coffee futures.
Who's the regional manager of crime?
A proficient chemist, Mysterio created a gas that could block Spidey's spider sense and a chemical abrasive that dissolved Spidey's webbing.
Huh. He should have just sold that to other criminals.
Yeah, he would have made so much more money.
Yeah. And he would have won, probably.
Let's see. Also skilled in robotics, at one time confronted Spider-Man with robot duplicates of the X-Men.
Like, look at these robots, Spider-Man.
I think that was one of his Sinister Six ploys. Brought out the robot X-Men. Mysterio is particularly known for framing heroes for crimes and or trying to drive them insane.
It's a living.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all I got.
All right. Mysterio. Is he
still a mystery?
Still a mystery.
Yeah. I will say, I got to give them credit for the marketing for this. I was really surprised that they showed Mysterio in the trailer. But they almost had me because I was like, damn, they cast Jake Gyllenhaal and he seems like he's a hero. This is weird. How are they going to make him a bad guy?
Yeah. And no.
I remember a lot of rumors going around that he was like an alternate universe Peter Parker.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Before the movie came out.
Well, yeah, because Jake Gyllenhaal was supposed to be was Tobey Maguire's backup for Spider-Man 2 when Tobey Maguire hurt his back. They did a screen test. They all but cast him.
Well,
you're muted, Josh.
I'm unwilling to believe that he is Mysterio because there's only one Mysterio, and that's Bruce Campbell.
Yes. So, all right. That brings us to the production of Spider-Man Far From Home. It was again directed by John Watts, written by Chris McKenna and Eric Summers, who we've spoken about previously on Spider-Man Homecoming, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Our cast, again, is nobody's new, except for Jake Gyllenhaal as Quentin Beck Mysterio. As we said, he was briefly considered to play Spider-Man in Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
I think that Jake was born in the comics with the alliteration.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes.
Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, he was born a comic book character.
Yeah, he was. We haven't had him. This is our first one with him, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he got his start, his big break, of course. We all remember him for Bubble Boy.
Right. I remember at the time, I can't remember if it was on SNL or if he joked about an interview, but yeah, when Spider-Man came out, he was promoting Prince of Persia, and he and Toby are best friends, and so yeah, there was sort of good-natured ribbing about which movie would stand the test of time.
Wow, which one would stand the test of the first week?
Right.
Exactly.
Jake Gyllenhaal's first credit is City Slickers. He was one of Billy Crystal's kids.
He's the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his very first film credit. He was also in Josh and Sam. I remember that movie. Huh. Wow.
But we all caught notice.
Donnie Darko. That's where.
Oh, I was going to say Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, yeah. No, Donnie.
That was after Donnie Darko.
That was after.
That was a few years after.
Donnie Darko is where I first became aware of him. I just rewatched that recently with Jude. It's still a good movie. That dude, that Richard Kelly's career post Donnie Darko is insane.
It is.
But yeah. Yeah, and Donnie Darko kind of put him on the map. Then, Day After Tomorrow was kind of his first big leading man, big action hero role.
I remember that movie. I remember going to the movie theater to watch it, thinking it would be good.
Yeah. Oh God, it was so.
And it was okay. Yeah. It was fine. It was like a Roland Emmerich movie though.
Yeah. Then 2005 seems to be the year he went serious. Check out his 2005 Brokeback Mountain, Jarhead, Zodiac, and Proof.
Wow,
that's a
year.
year.
Those were in
so
one
good.
year.
Yeah, that is a hell of a year.
I had a bunch of friends in Jarhead. They filmed a lot of that in Europe.
Oh yeah, I bet. Huh.
Oh yeah, makes sense.
Buddies of mine that spent time with him because they were all hanging out and said that he's a cool dude to spend time with, playing a lot of.
He seems down to earth.
Beer, yeah.
So does his sister.
Hung out with the extras, which is pretty sweet. Which makes sense if you're playing a Marine, you know.
Yeah,
you got to hang out with people.
I hear he's notoriously nice.
Notorious. So yeah, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. We all know who he is. We don't need to go much more into that. But he's really our only big addition to this movie. So there's not a whole lot of production to go into. There's not much behind the movie Homecoming, and it's an MCU movie, so they're like, yeah, make another one.
Yeah. Well, and just this is the first thing after Endgame, right? This is the first Marvel property that dropped.
Yeah, 10 weeks after Endgame, to be exact. And it's also They say it was the final film of Phase 3, but it really feels transitional into Phase 4. Like it.
I mean, Endgame is the end.
Yeah, like Kevin Feige can say that all he wants. It's really the first Phase 4 movie in all.
Yeah, it opens a new chapter.
Mm-hmm. They talk about the multiverse. It's post-snap. Like, come on, guys.
Well, I love it too. The head fake on the multiverse thing is brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, then I will wait till we get to that because, of course, I have a question.
Yeah.
But is that, I think it's the first character to say that word in the MCU. Right?
Yeah.
To actually call it that.
Yeah, to say.
Because even Beck calls them realities. And then Peter's processing that, and he's like, so there's a multiverse?
Yeah, Peter gets to be the first one to say multiverse.
Yeah, and then, chronologically, in the MCU timeline, we all know that No Way Home literally is that day. Starts that day. So he mentions the multiverse, and then he opens all that up.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
I didn't even put that together, Josh. That I completely forgot that aspect of No Way Home. It is the same day
as
it's the same day. They're on that sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's no.
Was this movie before or after Spider-Verse?
It was
after
Spider-Verse,
Yeah.
Yeah, so Spider-Verse, but
that's not MCU canon though.
No, it's not.
But to introduce the concept of the multiverse.
Did someone call it that?
I think so. I think Octavia Octopus or whatever her name was.
But I think it was Peter, first person to ever say it.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Absolutely. I really appreciate how much this film sticks to its themes and weaves its themes within it, with the multiverse, with the idea of illusion and people like not being what they say they are or seeming what they are.
The Matrix element to it.
At every,
not the movie, but the simulation.
Yeah. At every level, everyone is hiding, from Peter hiding who he is, Mysterio hiding who he is, Nick Fury hiding who he really is.
There's that too.
Yeah, there's just like the idea of hiding your true identity is just woven through every character, every major character in this, and it's really, really well written movie.
And except for Peter tries to literally avoid his identity. He tries to leave his costume.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's the only one that's like, I don't want two identities right now.
Every reveal of those characters' identities too is in this movie. It happens in the movie. It's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool. I do have we strayed away from our review section a bit because
did we get a Nolan burger on this one?
There's no Nolan burger. So I decided to start checking out Letterboxd reviews rather than Rotten Tomatoes reviews, since Rotten Tomatoes reviews are rough to go through. So I got a few here. I checked out the lowest ratings only for No Way Home. At 0.5 star, user Gammy says, "Don't even get me started."
I love when idiots start that way. It's like,
that's the whole review. That's the whole review. Don't even get me started. Period. End of review.
Holy shit.
Oh.
That's some like Bob Dylan Spinal Tap, like Grail Marcus's "What Is This Shit" review of self-portrait.
Right. Users
Rolling Stone ran that.
User Sovereign writes, "Not Ant-Man or Ant-Man and the Wasp."
True.
That's the whole review.
It's not. It's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, you are correct,
Well,
sir.
when you're right, you're right.
And user Cammy99 writes, "Nah, this movie is so much worse than fucking fanboys say it is. Yes, I'm calling you out, user 24 frames of frick." For it's not like you don't have. It's not like you don't have half the world already agreeing with you. You know.
I love when you can't even glean where the anger's coming from.
Right. He's just mad at 24 frames of flick. A frick. No, I'm sorry, 24 frames of Nick. I
was like, Robert Frick.
So that is our reviews. That brings us to the movie itself, guys.
What do you have? What ranking it was on Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah. So the percent. Yes. So
I'm looking at IMDb, and they give it a 7.4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which seems low to me, but
that is it. It's got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love all three of these. I'll just go ahead and say it.
Yeah. I think
they really nailed the Spider-Man movies.
That
they don't feel like Spider-Man movies that came before it. They feel like comic books. They read like a Spider-Man comic book would.
They absolutely do. And also just so many things taken for granted so we can just move along.
Yeah.
Just appreciate that.
Well, and they feel like Spider-Man adventures, not like they're
sequential necessarily.
Like,
they are sequential, but they don't necessarily seem like sequels to each other.
Right. Well, and unlike the first two Spider-Man trilogies, like they don't like, I love the Raimi trilogy, but sometimes it feels like very like this is Spider-Man. It's very important.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like he got the notes that everyone had been getting since like the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
I think they told Raimi the same beats that they demanded Spider-Man hit. Whereas it got to this point and Feige's like, tell some Spidey stories. He got bitten by a spider. Even your grandma knows that.
Yeah.
Let's just go on.
Let's just have some.
He's one of the most recognizable fictional characters of all time.
Yeah.
Let's see him do shit.
Yeah.
So August 1st, this last Monday, was Spider-Man Day.
He has a day?
It's an official holiday.
Sure.
I think there's another one. I think he might have
It's
two.
like Pizza Day. If you look at official congressional holidays, there's like 7 pizza days.
It was
I'm grateful for that.
Fucking country.
It was my first day officially back to work at the school, and I wore my tie-dye Spider-Man shirt. And Coach Q said, "Yeah, I totally picture you as Andrew Garfield." I was like, "What?" And then I thought about it. It's like, okay, I guess of the three, me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're more Andrew Garfield
okay.
than
All
Toby or Tom.
Resemblance-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
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 That was my recent Spider-Man experience outside of the podcast.
I know, as much as we love the Raimis, it's a higher compliment than being called a Tobey Maguire.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Who wants to be a Tobey Maguire? Like
the dead-eyed, surprised Toby.
I just think of the kid in the back seat of the Fear and Loathing car.
Yes.
Official member of the Pussy Posse.
Yep. Oh, I bet he crushes it.
Oh, can you imagine? It's like 1996, and like you're in a club in LA, and Tobey Maguire and Leonardo DiCaprio roll up, and they're like, "Hey, baby, we're the Pussy Posse."
No, one of them, I believe.
Stop!
But
don't do that.
What's even better is imagining having gotten laid for being in the Cider House Rules. Imagine catching bodies for that.
Michael Caine's like, no. I don't have to imagine.
Have you had sex with Tobey Maguire?
One night in Toby. Sex tape.
All right, so guys, that brings us to the film itself. You ready to jump into this thing?
Bo.
Oh.
Here we go. This is Spider-Man Far From Home. We open in Mexico. Nick Fury and Maria Hill are there investigating some unnatural weather phenomena. They encounter a superhero who fights a rock monster.
Rock monster.
Then we cut to the Marvel logo, and we get a Midtown High video tribute to the fallen Avengers.
I love these. These are some of my favorite things that they do in the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Well, and it starts off so dramatic. You think it's going to be this really cheesy, serious thing.
With Whitney Houston.
Yes, I will always love you, and so slow, but then it is perfect. It looks exactly like a high school PowerPoint, like that you made the night before, kind of thing.
Well, and it's got
they just
I love the Comic Sans, and they didn't remove the watermarks from the pictures.
The Getty Images thing. Yeah. The faces of the people that we lost.
They show Tony twice because there aren't that many.
Yeah. Yeah, because they showed Natasha too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They had
And Vision?
They had Vision, Black Widow, Tony, and Cap.
Oh, that's right.
So
and
they
Cap,
all assume
'cause
Cap
he's
is
lost
dead.
to time.
Yeah.
Or on the moon or wherever.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the world thinks Cap is dead, like the general public.
They probably went with that.
I think yes, in the respect that they know he died of old age, right?
No,
because
I mean, is him
the end of his story.
But does the general public know about that?
I think they kept that quiet.
Yeah, is that just something those Avengers know? Like, I don't know if the general public knows that happened. Like, I think maybe the official story is that he died returning the stones or something.
Yeah, he made the ultimate sacrifice because without that, it would have destroyed other realities. They probably that's like telling people that aliens exist, though.
Yeah, that was my feeling, is that only the Avengers know he lived out his old life, and the general public thinks he died in heroics,
returning them.
Yeah,
because I mean, realistically, Bucky, New Cap, and Hulk are the only ones that know.
Yeah,
right. They were the only witnesses to that. Yeah.
What? Okay, so he had like an alias.
Yeah, I imagine
the last however much of his life that he was just living out with Peggy.
Yeah, I mean, when he lived out his life,
he was Bo Jiden.
Yeah,
I thought he was just allowed to be Steve.
No, I think he probably just kept it quiet and didn't disrupt history or make himself known.
Steve Rogers is such a vanilla name that just like, oh no, I'm not that Steve Rogers.
Yeah,
sure. Of course.
Yeah, he's not like Audie Murphy or something.
Yeah,
I guess it's
grows a mustache.
I guess it's just odd that nobody ever mentioned what the world thought happened to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I think we get a Caps on the Moon thing, don't we? At some point.
I don't remember.
I have never heard that. But that doesn't mean anything. I just haven't heard.
Yeah, I thought that was a thing that we got mentioned casually in like a Disney Plus thing or something.
Maybe.
I feel like I remember that.
Why was he on the moon? Where did he?
That was the conspiracy theory. Was that Cap lived on?
Was
the
that
moon.
in Falcon and the Winter Soldier or something? Maybe.
Oh, I think that's where it was. Yeah. One of the people in Europe or something says it to somebody.
Does the conspiracy say why he might be
No.
Conspiracy theories don't.
Do they ever say why?
Yeah.
Sometimes. Because
why are the frogs gay? I mean,
fluoride, man.
See, we've never decided. Okay, all right. Okay, he's on the moon.
Well, I mean, that was like
that's dead up there, just laying dead.
I mean, that's the in-universe conspiracy theory that no one believes except for the conspiracyists.
I totally missed that line.
That's also part of the.
I don't know
Avengers
how
game.
that connects to anything.
There was a game that came out in 2021, and that was actually where Cap was on the moon. Spoiler alert! And you have to go rescue him, which I think was them trying to do some synergy or whatever between their multiple properties.
So all right. So after the video, or during the video, we learned that all the students that got snapped, which included MJ and Ned, had to restart their school year 5 years later.
The horrific marching band reappearing on the basketball court is the best blip thing ever.
Well, it's the funniest. The best one is in WandaVision when in the hospital.
Yeah, that one's awesome.
Imagine that. That must have been insane.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, half of the hospital population.
Well, that has the emotional impact of it being terrifying and confusing. I just love the band making noise as they return.
Right.
Yeah.
The kids
in the middle of a game.
Mid-note, on the sousaphone, dropping cymbals and stuff. Ah, beautiful.
Yeah. So now the school's going to go on a summer trip to Europe. Peter is planning on telling MJ that he likes her when they're in Paris, but Ned wants them to be independent bachelors.
This is such a real thing that kids do.
Oh, God, yeah.
Turning it into a thing, and I've got to do these things in order for it to go right. I love that they show Spider-Man is still just a kid. He's wrapped up in his romance that doesn't exist.
I was going to say, and a romantic.
Yeah.
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 He's 16 years old.
Yeah. All three of these Spidey movies hit the teenager thing really well. They're really good at it.
You idealize that love. Yeah.
Yeah.
He did it well.
So we cut to Aunt May. She's having a charity event starring Spidey. Backstage, Happy shows up, tells Peter that Nick Fury wants to get a hold of him. Nick calls, but Peter doesn't answer the call. Instead, he goes out, talks to the press a little bit, but in the face of so many questions about taking on Tony Stark's legacy, Peter freaks out, swings away to sit on a roof and look at graffitos of Iron Man longingly.
It was a small thing, but I really appreciated the fact that there was like a girl child there with a paper plate on her face.
Yeah.
Painted with the Spider-Man mask.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It was just endearing.
Well, then they're rock stars.
The perfect round trademark Spider-Man face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great. Well, yeah, and I love the fact that they acknowledge these people would be celebrities, and that there definitely is going to be some really cheesy charity events for the people.
And I love that May exploits his fame.
Yes.
Yeah. This was just a neighborhood function. Even when they're asking him questions about Tony Stark and blah blah blah, it's like, do you have any questions about the neighborhood? Because it's just a neighborhood thing.
Yeah, my aunt helps out the neighborhood. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely.
He tries in each movie to maintain that.
But nobody made the connection between Aunt May and Spider-Man.
Yeah,
how'd you get Spider-Man?
They're both so fast and loose with the secret identity. It's great.
God,
Of course, his identity comes out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that plays into a lot, especially in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah. Because, that's a teenager. They're thinking of a million things at once. They do that a lot in this movie where Peter just cannot multitask. Like he's talking to Edith, but he's also talking to the dumb chick on the bus. It's like, ignore her, Peter. Answer Edith.
Yeah, exactly.
He's trying to do that teenager like
drone. Yeah.
I can do all these things at once. I can totally follow. Train
he's staring in the mirror and he gets hit by a banana.
Yeah. So no, Jude
bring it to the next scene.
Jude does homework with music playing, a YouTube video on, and his homework going out at the same time. I'm like, what are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
That brain is forming.
Oh my God. So all right, we
tell me what you remember from the last 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Jude.
Exactly.
What did I just say? Then you can't say it, and then you're like, what are the lyrics to all of these songs?
Well,
and then you reset it.
And the thing, I can't get mad though because he gets really good grades. So I'm like, I guess it's worked, but also I can't get behind this.
There are lots of reasons why teenagers sleep the way they do, eat the way they do, learn the way they do,
smell the way they do.
Certainly smell the way they do. Yeah.
Being on my second teenager now, I'm like, God damn it, that teenage smell.
Well, I worked at group homes for teenage boys. It was a locker room. They couldn't even help it.
No.
We had washers and dryers. They had to wash their clothes, but just that many teenagers in a confined space.
Oh man.
It would burn your eyes sometimes.
It's like ladies that have like 45 cats. Like you can't help it.
It's exactly like that. Like, I can't blame the kids. You're sweaty pheromones reeking everywhere.
So we cut to Peter packing for the.
So like Spider-Man.
Yeah, like Spidey. We cut to Peter packing for the trip. Aunt May throws a banana at him, then wants to take his Spidey suit with him, but Peter doesn't want to take it.
And we start the running joke of the Peter tingle.
Yeah,
we're so hilarious.
We're introduced to the Spidey sense for the first time.
Well, no. In Infinity War, he had it when he.
Oh, right.
The ship.
But this is the first.
No, and it took him a little longer to phase than everybody else, and he felt it before.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else dusted away. He actually fell on Tony. Like, I don't like this.
Like he felt it coming. Yeah.
It's really cool because these 3 movies are what served as a single introduction to the character, and we get the full character of Peter Parker by the end of No Way Home.
Yeah.
But the last thing that he really understands, of his powers, is the Spidey sense, which is kind of neat because it is the most amorphous thing. It does what the plot needs it to do, which is a cool thing to not have him be like, oh, yeah, and I also have this spider sense in the first movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's kind of the thing that you would have to learn to use the most. Like, I can jump from walls and do flips. Like, that's easy to figure out as a teenager, but figuring out my emotions and feelings is much harder.
Yeah. Well, and he identifies, Josh used it as his opening line, was he's strong and sticky. And that's really not what Spider-Man is. He is super intuitive.
Yeah.
Because he has the spider sense.
Like you said, he is learning it. As Al pointed out, he gets hit with the banana because he hasn't honed it enough. His sense just doesn't see the banana as a threat.
Yeah, totally. The threat thing. It happened later. I noticed he didn't sense that Fury was in the room. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But when Fury shows up in his room, he didn't sense him there.
Right.
Because he didn't sense a threat. He didn't sense danger.
Right. And he never sensed Mysterio as a threat. Like, it's all about him learning to use it.
And it's going to bring up those questions that we're all waiting for about Fury.
Yeah.
It's odd that he didn't tingle.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Had he met Fury previously?
Yes, but that's not Nick Fury.
I know, no, but I'm just saying,
at the funeral. We met at the funeral.
That's right, the funeral.
But it wasn't a good time to exchange information.
That's right. So, all right. So anyways, on the plane, Peter finds out that Brad, who wasn't snapped and used to be 5 years younger than all of them, is a rival for MJ's affections.
Who is now jacked.
Yeah.
Is how they describe him.
Yeah. Peter tries to maneuver into sitting next to MJ, but just ends up sitting next to the teacher. Ned ends up next to Betty Brant. They connect and they end up dating.
Harrington.
Mr. Harrington, yes. Martin Starr.
Just because 3 of us have had a Mr. Harrington as a teacher, that cracks me up.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah. Martin Starr and JB
Smoove.
Yeah, JB Smoove are great in this. This might be their best roles as these teachers of the 3 movies.
The third one was pretty fun too, and then Hannibal rejoins them because he's the one naysayer. He's the MysterioTruth.com.
But they had the most to do in this one because they're the adults on the trip. So they land in Venice. Peter finds out about Ned and Betty. They go to their hotel, then start sightseeing as a class. Peter finds a necklace he plans on giving to MJ in Paris.
Venice,
I'm sorry. No, he finds it in Venice. He plans on giving it to her in Paris.
Oh, yeah, at the top of the Eiffel Tower.
But they never make it there,
Yeah. Then a water monster attacks. A mysterious hero with a fishbowl helmet arrives to fight it. Peter helps a bit, but mostly just saves some civilians and his friends. And then the mysterious hero defeats the monster.
Okay, I have so many questions about this sequence. We can get to them later. But how do drones move water like that?
Well,
they don't.
We do see later that they have some sort of like force field that pushes matter.
Yeah,
but
they have like a percussive thing.
Yeah, but
everything is wet.
It's unclear how it works exactly.
Yeah, which I'm cool accepting, but I just was curious.
The water monster itself was a hologram.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but they do move water around.
But then the drones were forcing water all over the place.
It almost seems like they're carrying water into the air and like squirting it out. That would be the way that they would do it.
Yeah,
they don't have a ton of like
because they're not just
capacity to
pushing
hold
water up. They'd have to they would have to push it up and out.
Well, and we see later the interior part of the monsters are empty space, so there could be drones that are like pushing water up and then pushing it out wherever it needs to go or whatever.
Yeah, there is
water spouts creating wind. Water spouts.
Yeah, that would work. So it passes the science.
Yeah, I'll accept it. It's MCU acceptable.
It's great when we're like, do they ever explain it? And then we're like, this needs to be. All right, water, got it.
Yeah.
Anyways, the fire and the rock one I get a lot easier than this. But
yeah, it's it's cool that we see Jake Gyllenhaal in civilian clothing watching Peter in a couple shots earlier.
We see the team throughout the film taking notes and keeping tabs on him.
Yeah, absolutely. So back at the hotel,
I love the party mask that he throws on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he left his suit back in the hotel. He doesn't want to be identified. He just finds this not really a Harlequin mask, but
also
Venice is known for their I mean, it is a Venetian style mask, but what is it?
Okay.
But also, like, anyone seeing that knew him wouldn't be like, hey, Peter's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And
that dude with the mask is wearing Peter's clothes.
And the back of his head.
And he's wearing the back of his head.
And he sounds like Peter, who has a very distinctive voice.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it before, but Disney is, or I guess I wasn't watching Disney. Anyways, the captions were on point because whenever they showed him, it said mask jingling. And I was like, that is an important detail. If I was that would make me laugh.
Yeah.
Just reading mask jingling as he stuck to the fucking tower. Ding-ling-ling-ling.
Back at the hotel, the news dubs the hero Mysterio. Well, the news and the kids. Peter calls.
The news don't dub him that. They say he's a mysterious character. It's just in Italian.
Yeah, and so they
man of mystery in Italian.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah.
And so the kids dub
But the
him.
kids pick up on Mysterio.
Yeah.
Because it's a cool word.
It is.
It's a way cool word. There's a little Spider-Man in-universe sort of Easter egg here. Spider-Man had a villain called Hydro Man, who was just a terrible lame-ass Sandman type. But the kids even mention that character's actual story when they're sort of theorizing about the guy who got in an underwater accident.
Yeah, Flash is talking about it, right?
Right. So just like another cool way of like, okay, you could that villain, kind of like that. And we name drop. I just like when they do that instead of making that character.
Yeah. Yes.
It's nice.
It's better because you don't have to make
universe building.
They don't have to make every single Z tier character that ever existed,
and expect us to take them seriously.
Yeah,
that's what's always so hard.
Yeah, exactly. So Peter calls Aunt May, discovers that she's hanging out with Happy. Peter goes upstairs to his room, finds Nick Fury waiting for him. Nick tranquilizes Ned and makes Peter suit up and head back to his headquarters.
Gives him the glasses.
Nick gives him the glasses from Tony Stark, which were meant to be given to him upon his death.
That was after they left the hotel room.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, it was at the headquarters. The glasses enable him. Well, the headquarters, their hideout, wherever Nick takes Peter.
Shield Underground.
Is it Shield?
Sewer.
That was one of my questions. That was one of my unanswered questions. Of the many unanswered questions surrounding Nick Fury in this movie is who is Nick Fury working for on Earth? Like, we know he's actually a Skrull and not really Nick Fury. And so really he's working for the Skrulls, Captain Marvel, like whoever. But who on earth is the person everyone thinks is Nick Fury? What organization is that person working for?
I mean,
it's not
I
S.H.I.E.L.D.
assume that it's the dark iteration of S.H.I.E.L.D. that still exists. It's their underground
Well, because the last time we saw Nick Fury pre-Infinity War, he was hiding out at the Barton farm. Like, he wasn't public.
Yeah. Well, I think that he has been coming around to, becoming like a operating force again.
So just slowly over these years in between Age of Ultron and Infinity War, when whoever got snapped.
Or since
he got blipped.
Winter Soldier.
Well, but did he or did Talos?
Yeah, Talos actually got snapped, which I have so many questions about.
I don't know I think that was Nick Fury that got snapped. This is not Nick Fury.
It's not, but he wasn't already a Skrull at that point?
I don't think so.
I don't think so, because that was so many years after Captain Marvel. That would mean that everything since like what was hers, 90?
Well, no, but I mean, yeah, but we don't know. I guess when did Nick go on?
Was Nick Fury at the funeral?
Was that Nick Fury at the funeral? We don't.
That might have been the last time we actually saw Nick Fury.
I think the first time we saw a modern Skrull was in WandaVision, right? In the post-credits scene.
No, this one.
In the theater? In
this movie.
Yeah, this was before WandaVision?
Yeah. In Spider-Man Far From Home is the first time we see a Skrull.
We didn't see a Skrull.
Yeah, in the mid-credits. Nick Fury and Maria Hill turn into Talos and whatever the other one's name is.
His wife.
Yeah.
Not in the mid-credits. Must have been the post-credits, right?
The mid-credits sequence. Oh, no, post-credits. I'm sorry. You're right. Post-credits. Yeah. Post-credits.
Okay.
Very end.
I recuse myself.
In my opinion, I think we had real Nick Fury through Endgame, and then he decided to just take a vacation on the space station.
I mean, I agree. I don't know where he was, but I agree with you. I think that was the real Nick Fury until the blip.
I think it's.
I don't know. Well, maybe he was. That means he was gone a long time, and not. He didn't even start the Avengers initiative.
He got blipped.
I know he did. But if we're saying that he's been Talos since Captain Marvel.
No. I'm not saying I think he was Talos since Captain Marvel. I mean, I'm saying I think maybe he became Talos sometime between Age of Ultron and Infinity War.
That's a lot of time. I'm just trying to process all the things that Nick Fury did to further the Avengers and the timeline in that amount of time.
Right. Well, he didn't do anything in between on screen. He didn't do anything in between Age of Ultron and the end of Infinity War. That was his first appearance. Captain Marvel came out after Infinity War, right? Yeah. So that was Sam Jackson's first appearance at the end of Infinity War since Age of Ultron.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't think we get a definitive answer about any
and we never will.
Yeah.
Well, Secret Invasion is coming.
Yeah,
they have to explain all of it.
They may mention it, or they may not. Who knows? But
they may mention it in Secret Invasion.
That when
it has to be a cornerstone.
No. I mean, obviously the Skrulls, but when Talos started impersonating him, they may not mention specifically.
Jesus Christ, that would be terrible.
At least Talos is impersonating with consent.
Yes. Yeah. Nick did that so he could take a vacation. Yeah.
He's doing Fury a favor. Well, and Fury is clearly working with the Skrulls. I don't think it's necessarily a vacation. I think it's a Nick Fury working vacation.
Yeah. Anyways, so let's see. The glasses are Edith, which is another of my questions. When did Tony program Edith to be given to Peter?
Probably after he recorded his video for his daughter. It probably took him 15 minutes.
So he assumed at that point.
Look how quick it was to switch it to Beck.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm
because I imagine he's going to win no matter the cost. Hopefully, we come back alive. If I don't come back alive, someone needs to take over my militarized technology, and it's probably not going to be Pepper because she's going to sit on her hands. No offense, Pepper, but she's a pacifist.
So I guess he would have had some sort of backup plan then if it didn't work and Peter didn't get unsnapped.
It would probably have then gone to Pepper or to his kid or something. God, or Happy.
I think he was grooming Peter,
or maybe Rhodey.
Yeah, I don't mean grooming in a sick way. He was grooming him to take over.
No, we know that word's become very associated, but it has an uncreepy meaning too. Yeah.
He did take a 15-year-old kid into a battle, so it's equally bad.
All right, he trained, but Peter didn't know he was being trained, so I don't know a better word for being trained without knowing it.
Oh God!
I'll try though. Hashtag I'll try.
These glasses wouldn't have come to light if Tony hadn't died, because the acronym "Even Dead, I'm the Hero."
Yeah.
Which is such a Tony thing. I love that they gave it an acronym, barf.
So he also meets Mysterio, a.k.a. Quentin Beck, who tells him he's from an alternate reality within the multiverse. The 4 elementals killed his family and destroyed his civilization. There's now just the fire elemental left here on this Earth. He names this MCU 616.
How does he know that?
It's a coincidence. I was just willing to chalk it up as like
that.
Because he doesn't know, and that's what everybody else refers to it as. I was like,
he doesn't know, and also Kevin Feige says that the MCU is not the 616 because the comics are the 616.
Except for in Multiverse of Madness,
what's our reality known as then? What's our
the
616 in the Marvel universe?
This is 1999 or something like that, I think.
He said 833 is the one he's from, and this is 616.
Yeah.
So
I think
prior to this, coincidence.
Officially, according to Feige and the MCU, official board, the MCU's number is 199999.
Yeah.
Then why have they never said that but bothered to say 616 over and over?
Well, they say 616 because they just want to Easter egg it for people constantly, and
yeah.
In the most recent,
so this is the first time.
No, I admit it. I agree. It's confusing. I'm just saying that's what they've said.
Yeah.
This is the first time they've numbered a universe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and the Illuminati designates it as 616 because they're in the business of designating multiverses, I guess.
But this dude isn't from another multi.
Yeah, he's not.
No.
So it's not even 616, but he made up 616, and then the MCU adopted it, and then it turns out behind our backs, that's not even the universe. We don't even know. Whoever called it the other number. Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Feige designated it that during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there was some question about what timeline is what happening in? Is this the comic?
Well, then it's
timeline?
Lazy and stupid to have brought it up in the last Doctor Strange movie. Why would you even perpetuate the wrong answer?
Well, I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
I think they're in the business of obfuscating things that we would like to have a designated serious answer for.
Oh, okay. All right. That's where we're at.
I think it's intentional.
No need to talk.
They're fucking with everybody.
Okay.
I think that it's them being like, nah, it'll be funny because it'll lead to conversations like this. And that's what the MCU is built on.
Yeah. I mean, let's be clear. There's 5,000 other podcasts and 10,000 YouTube channels about this exact thing.
We wouldn't be talking about this if the MCU didn't exist.
That is my whole point. That's the aggravation is so arbitrary, even in each episode, about what needs an answer and what doesn't. How does the water move? That needs an explanation. Why he randomly said the correct universe, and I didn't even know it wasn't.
Have you guys seen?
That's just chalked up to, you know how they are.
Well, I might have mentioned
explaining.
on the show before. There's the pitch meeting guy. It's a YouTube channel, and he's always, his line for this kind of thing is like, because the movie needs to happen, which is really all we need to accept.
You're muted again, Josh.
Then he's a lousy podcast host, and he shouldn't have a fucking podcast. If that's his attitude.
He says it.
Why talk about it if your whole point is going to be, well, that's movies for you?
Well, no,
it's a joke.
There's no conversation.
He's making the joke about it. You know, like, why are
funny?
they doing this? This doesn't make sense. And he goes, so the movie can happen. And it's a funny bit. He does it in every single episode that ever exists. It's like a continuing joke because there are elements of this kind of thing in every movie, but
every single movie.
Yeah.
So there's no point in talking about any movie if the answer is always going to be, well, it's because it's a movie.
Well,
you know what I mean? There's no discussion to that.
Well, yeah, no, there is it, but
why
also,
even?
But also,
why?
What we bring, what any single person brings up as far as like, why does this not explained or but isn't bothered why something else isn't explained, is because every single person is bothered by different things.
I get it. And so that is discussing ideas and theories. But if the retort or response is going to be, well, that's just because it's a movie. Then
right. But he's doing that as a bit.
That's my argument.
He's doing that as a bit.
I'm talking about us.
I don't think that's the.
We don't need to talk about it. I'll just
response. I think their reasoning is to inflate these kinds of conversations so they continue.
I just never know which questions are supposed to be asked and what aren't.
Any question you want to ask.
I always get confused.
Any question you want to ask.
Apparently not, because the answer is always either overly complicated or why are you even asking? It's a movie. But then when I say, oh, well, that's a comic book, I don't care. All right, carry on. Sorry, what scene are we at?
Kevin Feige was in the bathroom.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah.
So that was all coincidence, and it doesn't mean anything. I'm sorry that I even thought that it did.
No, I think.
Sorry, I wasted time thinking about it.
No, I think that it was a legitimate question. I think the answer is dumb because they're fucking with us, which is a dumb answer, and like it is a coincidence. In universe, it's a coincidence that Mysterio said that, which sucks.
Yeah,
that's not an answer. You're talking about something Kevin Feige said in an interview versus answers that are explained in movies. So, okay, it's not that I didn't like the answer. I had no idea we were not Universe 616. The second to last movie I just watched, Reed Richards told us once again. So I was just confused. I didn't realize that they made movies. I didn't realize he had said that. My bad. And my question is not a valid question at all because there's no 616. So.
Well, I think a lot of this stuff will be answered in the coming movies. I think that they will answer some of these things, and they will probably be equally frustrating answers.
There's no question. There's no question or answer. It's not 616. Now I know. I thought it was interesting that he guessed the right one. Turns out he didn't. Turns out it wasn't a coincidence. It's wrong. It's just wrong. So there's no question. I didn't know that.
So
that's all.
All right.
I didn't know we were in a completely different multiverse then. I didn't know any of this didn't matter anymore. I kept thinking that it did. My bad.
So, Beck, Mysterio predicts that there's a fire monster that's going to attack Prague. Nick wants Peter to help him fight the fire monster. Peter says no because he wants to go on his class trip and that if he fights a Spider-Man, everyone's going to figure out that he's Spider-Man. And to his surprise, Nick Fury says, oh, sure. Then the next day, the class gets a new bus with a new bus driver. It's from Nick Fury. Bus driver's an agent, and the class has been diverted to Prague.
Dimitri? Was it Dimitri?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dimitri.
I didn't write it down, but he was.
Yeah, that he was one of the guys in the sewer base.
Yeah.
And Peter just immediately like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
he was like the stone coldest killer in that basement.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Anyway. He's the bus driver now.
He is the bus driver now. While traveling through Switzerland, Peter explores Edith. He discovers he can read everyone's phones, decides not to read MJ's because he's not a creep. They take a rest stop. Peter's separated from the class. He's ushered into a back room where a blonde lady agent is making Peter change into an all-black suit from Nick.
That was the front room of a Ghost house.
Oh.
And it was labeled Ghost house, which is in Europe, in that part of Europe, like an inn.
Okay.
Guest house. But she didn't even take him in the back room. It was like the front.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder why Brad was going in there.
He thought it was the bathroom.
Oh,
I thought he was following Peter.
Mm.
Yeah, he was, because he's been suspicious of Peter from the very beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, he has been.
Because Peter's not good at hiding his identity. There's something going on.
Yeah. He's not, there's a reason that Zendaya figured it out.
Yeah, even if he's not Spider-Man, there's something going on.
Well, Brad knows, obviously, not about the Spider-Man thing, but knows, obviously, that Peter has his eyes on MJ.
Yeah. And Brad is obviously is into MJ too, like clearly. Yes. Brad takes a picture of him, thinking he's hooking up with the lady, and threatens to show it to MJ.
Is so weird. That is such a weird thing to do.
Yeah.
Take a picture of someone with their pants down?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It is an inherently weird thing to do. Like, I caught him with his pants down. I'm going to take a photograph.
Yeah, as proof so that because I mean, that's also a very teenager thing to think. Like, if I show her, she'll hate him and like me. Not like, why are you taking pictures of him? That's creepy.
It's a great setup
it's not
for that.
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back on the bus, Peter tries to use Edith to erase the picture from Brad's phone, but accidentally calls in a drone strike. He has to secretly use his Spidey powers to stop Brad from being killed. And then
look, a baby goat.
Then he does get the picture erased.
I love that Dimitri, the driver, is aware of all of this happening. He's aware of both sides of this conversation and is just like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you messing with this right now?
Yeah, this is a bad idea, Peter.
Yeah.
They arrive in Prague to discover that there's a festival going on that night. They've been upgraded to a fancy hotel. Peter meets with Nick. They discuss the plan to fight the monster. Peter asks Nick to do something to keep his class safe from where the attack is going to be happening. Nick agrees. He's going to send them to an opera. Peter goes and sits on the roof to sulk for a bit, and Mysterio shows up. They bond, talking about Peter's life. At the opera,
I think it was Peter that figured out that did the opera thing through Edith. I don't think Fury. Excuse me. I don't think Fury set that up. I think that was. Peter's just like, I need to figure out somewhere to keep them inside.
Okay.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he does say that out loud to Edith. Yeah.
To Edith. You're still muted, yes. Josh.
He nods to Ned as if to say, go with it.
Yeah.
So,
that's why Ned's so supportive of the idea.
Yeah. So then at the opera, MJ asks Peter to sit with her. He wants to, but he has to sneak out to be Spider-Man. After he leaves, though, Betty convinces Ned to sneak out to enjoy the festival. They get on a Ferris wheel, which... Hey, kids, if you are ever in a superhero movie, don't get on a Ferris wheel. Don't get on like a ski lift. Don't get on anything that hangs from a high height. If you are in a superhero movie,
stay off the subway. Anything that moves, just stay at home.
Yeah.
Don't get on or go anywhere that you can't control your own motor functions.
Yeah,
I guess
you're going to be
like, if you can't run from something from a place, just don't get on it. If you're in a superhero movie,
especially if you're friends with the superhero, you're going to end up in peril. So the monster attacks. Peter and Mysterio fight it. Everyone's in danger, including Ned and Betty on the Ferris wheel, but they eventually defeat it after a big battle.
No, that's not Spider-Man. That's the European knockoff, Night Monkey.
Yes, this is where we get Night Monkey. Mysterio tells Fury the elementals are all dead. Nick invites Mysterio to Berlin for a weekend getaway to discuss continue.
They're going to go clubbing.
Yeah, to continue working together.
There was some sort of conference there.
Well, like their head. Did they say a conference? I can't remember.
Or not necessarily a conference, but because Fury wanted to take Peter to Berlin.
Yeah,
it's like I really want you to show up and be the face of the Avengers.
Yeah.
So there's some sort of not convention, but not conference.
I assumed there was some sort of headquarters there, and they were going to have some meetings and do.
A meeting of world powers.
Yeah. So, he tries to use Tony's memory to guilt Peter into coming. Mysterio and Peter go for a drink. In the bar, Peter, with Mysterio's mentorship, decides to not go to Berlin or be an Avenger. He's just going to go be a normal kid, try to hook up with MJ. He transfers Edith's controls over to Mysterio and gives him the glasses and heads back to meet his class. After he leaves, the illusion over the bar disappears, revealing it's old and abandoned, and filled with Mysterio's cohorts watching Peter. He was faking being a hero. There are a bunch of ex-Stark industry employees that he's been working with to pretend to be a hero.
So there's a special effects person, a costumer, a writer, a weapons expert.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't catch any other roles on the team, and he's kind of the big brain behind everything.
There was a bunch more people, though, but they weren't defined who they were or what they did.
Yeah.
There was the...
Ralphie.
They threw out EMP, electromagnetic pulse, a couple times in this scene, and that was like to throw off the shield.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the other woman who had been running the thing to show the power source
coming
was
up.
centralized.
Yeah, so there would be a signal for
So even Shield would believe it.
Yeah. This scene, when I saw this in the theater, it was such an interesting audience moment because you got a lot of like gasps and cheers as this happened between people who were surprised and people who were like, yes, Mysterio is the bad guy. It was a cool moment to be there going like, yeah, this is a turning point. So it'd been the end of a normal movie.
Yeah. So yeah, instead it's our midpoint turnaround. So yeah.
And Quentin Beck gives an important point. You can be the smartest guy in the room and no one cares unless you're flying around with a cape or shooting lasers from your hands.
Yeah. Yeah. In this universe.
Like nobody notices.
Yeah.
You could be the smartest person on the planet.
Yeah.
But if you're not shooting lasers from your hands, if you're not a superhero, nobody's paying attention.
Yep. They're planning to use Edith's weaponized drones to make a really big, scary monster in London, an Avengers level threat.
Sorry, go ahead, Thoreau.
An Avengers level threat so that Mysterio can defeat it and become an Avengers level hero.
And for the world to see him do it.
Yes.
It had to be on the world stage.
Yeah, exactly. He's totally cool with a lot of deaths involved in it. Back at the hotel, Ned tells Peter that the trip has been canceled because of all the monster attacks. Peter and MJ go for a walk together, where Peter plans on telling MJ how he feels, but she first tells him she knows he's Spider-Man.
67%. Sure.
Yeah. First he tries to deny it, but then after she shows him a drone projector that she picked up, and it accidentally goes off and reveals that the monster is a projection, as was Mysterio's heroics. He admits that he is Spider-Man and tells her they have to go tell Nick Fury right away about Mysterio.
And Spider-Man needs help. He needs help figuring out these kinds of things because he's sticky and strong.
Yes.
That's it.
He is a genius.
He is. He is.
He is a genius level intellect.
And he's figuring out his perception and intuition as he goes along. That's his problem, is he doesn't perceive reality to be either as dangerous or as like people can be evil in the MCU.
That's a teenager.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you think they get into vans?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Meanwhile,
he's not necessarily street smart.
Yeah. Yeah. Teenager. The smartest teenager on earth is still dumb.
Yeah. He's neighborhood smart. He knows his little microcosm.
Yeah. So then meanwhile, Mysterio tests out the new Edith drones that they're going to use to attack London. They're rehearsing, basically.
I love the dress rehearsal.
Double the damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Them blocking it out and going through step by step what he's going to do. His illusion form shouting, "This is for my family," is one of my favorite parts of his whole characterization. Is that's all baked into the character. It's all by design.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing behind it shows us how wrong Peter was. I love that. He's just being manipulated.
Yeah, absolutely. Back at the hotel, Ned finds out that MJ knows about the Spider-Man thing. Peter heads to Berlin to tell Nick Fury about Mysterio. He travels via top of train. He arrives in Berlin. Knocked monkey. What's the German word for monkey? Is it monkey?
I don't know.
Yeah, is it MONKE? What language?
Yeah, German.
Does it that way?
Yeah, I don't. Monk. Is that? I don't. Yeah, knocked. So yeah, so maybe it's knocked. Maybe that's just the German for night monkey. Knocked monkey.
I will consult iTranslate while you continue.
So he gets picked up by Nick Fury, who takes him to the headquarters. There, Peter reveals everything, but then his Spidey sense, his Peter tingle, picks up Mysterio. The building disappears, becoming an abandoned warehouse. Maria Hill becomes a drone that shoots Nick Fury, and Mysterio uses the Edith drones to plunge Peter into a nightmare illusion maze thing.
Well, and this is really confusing for us as the audience. We just saw him reveal the big plan, but he has contingency within contingency. And this, I remember coming out the backside of this part of the movie and being so, I didn't know how to orient myself anymore.
Yeah, this is a really effective way to confuse Peter and the audience.
Well, that's what Mysterio was all about. Like, it was the most comic panel-y scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Monkey in German is Affe. So I think just calling it knocked monkey is funnier for the English viewers. Yeah. Affe. Knocked Affe? No, it just doesn't punch.
Yeah.
So then let's see. Mysterio's taunting Peter. Eventually Nick Fury arrives, shoots Mysterio, frees Peter. Peter tells Nick that MJ and Ned know about Mysterio, and then, surprise, Fury is actually Mysterio. Pushes Peter in front of a train. And he tells his people they're going to have to route the school trip through London so that the kids can be killed.
This sequence, the whole illusion sequence, has a ton of things that they drop. We get a zombie Iron Man.
Yeah, that was so cool.
With the spiders crawling out of his face. We get MJ falling, and he tries to catch her, and he face plants on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really cool the way they did those little threads to the extended MCU or the extended Marvel comics.
Yeah. No, very there was go ahead, Al.
He thinks he's punching Mysterio and he punches like a column.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just very clever use of the illusions and motivations to basically get Spider-Man to beat himself up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the character was always a special effects wizard, even in the '60s. But and at that time, they literally used smoke and mirrors. So he would often use literally those two devices. So it was just cooler to see the technology allow him to just straight up illusions, not necessarily always traps or danger, just scaring him, making him think others are in danger.
And using in-universe technology that exists. He invented holograms, basically. He invented the barf technology.
He invented barf,
yeah. Having him invent barf was a stroke of genius. That's awesome.
Yeah. My only, again, to the drone thing, how do you project darkness? Which is an interesting thing to think of, like, oh, that's a tall hurdle to cover, is like, how do you make it seem like it's pitch black with light? But with holograms.
So Peter crawls into the train, beaten and bruised. He passes out, wakes up in a jail cell in the Netherlands with some football fans.
Who speak perfect English.
Yeah, because it's the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
It's reality.
Yeah. He escapes from jail.
And you're also nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also true. Yeah. But it's a little better than Germany, but it's that sort of tight-lipped politeness.
Yeah.
They're definitely polite, but it's sort of like
yeah,
talking through their teeth kind of thing.
All through like mid-northern Europe, like up into the hangy ballsack part. The Scandinavian.
Yeah, but
the Scandinavian.
France and Germany, they didn't care.
No,
the what?
I was Scandinavian. I meant when I said hangy ballsack. My apologies to our Scandinavian listeners.
They don't care. They're living their best life.
Yeah. They've got free healthcare. Fuck them. So, yeah. He walks out of jail. Uses a local's phone to call Happy. That sequence is great.
I love him trying to repeat what the guy says, and then the dude just says it to Happy on the phone, and Happy understands.
Mm-hmm.
I also love the second of like, yeah, you get your phone call, and they hand him a phone, and just that second, especially his generation, I don't know any fucking phone numbers.
Yeah, he has to think about it. Yeah. Yes.
Just little details, teenage details.
But he knows Happy's phone number in universe because he was constantly trying to get in with Tony.
Oh, in Homecoming.
And
yeah.
He was
called
his gatekeeper. Yeah.
Yeah. So he knows him.
Constantly leaving voicemails. Hey, Happy, it's me. Just wanted to see if I could come out and do some adventuring,
It's Ringo.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, the Spider-Man trilogy is so good. Like, it's so tied together.
I think so.
Like,
there has got to be a big Pepe Silva board somewhere for every movie. They've got to be like, how do we tie this into the first one in a thematic way and in a literal way?
Yeah. So let's see. He calls Happy, who shows up and ruins a tulip field.
I assume he paid for it immediately, but
yeah.
It's a particularly famous one too.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all over, but that's a big attraction with the windmill just smack in the middle, and
with the rainbow colors.
It's like hovering over the Taj Mahal's reflecting pool.
Landing in, oh god. So he patches up Peter's wounds. He and Peter have a heart-to-heart talk about Tony's expectations and failings in relation to Peter. This boosts
Peter Peter says the thing. I'm strong. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Which is a really powerful thing because like Superman doesn't get hurt. He doesn't feel pain unless he's getting like smashed in the face by a planet.
Well, it's unless kryptonite's involved.
Right.
Well, yeah, you're right. You know, he doesn't feel the pain of being hit by a train.
I feel like that is the fundamental difference between DC and Marvel. DC, they're gods. It doesn't hurt. Marvel, it hurts. They're strong, but it still hurts because they're people.
There's damage. Yeah.
Well, and when we see the one character who is going to Justice League, Batman gets hit by a car or something. Superman throws him in that big slow-mo sequence of the statue. Batman gets hurt, but it's played for laughs.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to believe it's all armor and Kevlar, you know, probably top of the line, probably fictional versions, but Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
He gets hurt. I love this scene on the plane though, because Peter thinks he's figured it out, which is, Tony trusted me to choose the next Iron Man.
Yeah.
And without them discussing that point, Happy's basically telling him that like it was you. You were the only one Tony saw anything in. There were more powerful heroes. There are more capable heroes. He saw himself in Peter on every level. His genius, his bravery, his naivete, his arrogance. You know what I mean?
But and
Tony was his kid, the kid he never had.
Tony trusted what's his face, Jeff Bridges in the first movie.
Yeah,
fully trusted him until all of a sudden he was almost dead and Pepper saved him.
Right.
I love the little touch of Tony passing the torch, and what Peter says is, "I'm not Iron Man," and a call back to the most famous line,
the very first line. Yeah, good point.
And Tony said to him in the first movie, "What is it? Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Do the right thing, but don't do anything that I wouldn't do." There's a really fine line for you to operate in.
Yeah, don't do anything I wouldn't do. Don't do anything I would do. There's a little gray area in there.
Yeah.
And what was it? Al that mentioned it earlier, but even the acronym Edith, that joke is only for Peter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That joke is not for who Peter chooses to give Edith to. You know, that joke that's directly for him. That's for the kid.
Yeah.
That would seem like such a dick thing. For if Mysterio was a good dude, he'd be like, God, what an asshole.
Right. Like if it was handed to Sam or Barton or you know what I mean? Any cheesy other option, that wouldn't be funny. It'd be condescending, but
for
he
Peter,
always had to remind his apprentice.
Yeah.
I'm the hero. Yeah, absolutely.
He is a big shadow to live in and to eventually find a way to meet and just exceed it by a little bit because Tony's that much of an ego. You know, he'll never be that much greater than me. Maybe a little bit.
And Edith is always like, "Hey, Peter," like it was all meant to be. It was just the teenager couldn't shoulder the responsibility.
Well, right, and it's a good point to make too. Like what we were talking about, like Peter mistaking that he was meant to choose the heir to Tony. He doesn't even have to transfer it back to himself. From Mysterio having control of Edith. Edith just still under his control.
Right. It was just the protocol if Peter allowed someone else to use it, should that contingency be needed.
Yeah.
It wasn't a feature of you can hand this off. It's, Peter's in a pinch, has to throw the glasses to somebody. But you're absolutely right. It's programmed to Peter.
Yeah.
You can't just put them on and they're yours again.
This is the biggest example I think that we see thus far with Peter in the MCU, where the question of what do you do when given great power? You have enormous responsibility, and he thinks his responsibility is to choose the next guy. It's an interesting like turning of that dial to get us closer to, dude. This is the thing that you have to grapple with for the rest of your existence as a character.
It's got that Robin sort of element that like there's no way that he could think I'm even close enough to fill his shoes. Do you know what I mean? Like he admires Tony so fucking much that he can't fathom that Tony would think he's worthy. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Maybe it's not exactly Robin, but
and Tony always Heisman trophied him at every moment. Like, no, I'm not going in for a hug. I'm just opening the door.
Yes, there was also all of that. Yeah.
You're not even here. And he pops out of the suit. Like, no, I'm calling you from a wedding in India. Like, he never understood how much even when Tony tells him, like, he hugs him at the end, I don't think that got through to Peter. That, like, dude, this guy really cares about you. He doesn't touch people. No one is allowed to hand him things.
You can't hand him things. You can't touch him. You can't even really look him in the eye too long.
Yeah. No,
he will not return your calls. He will not answer your calls. But he's always there for Pete.
Peter didn't understand that Tony had a picture of him in his house during those 5 years.
He did not.
And we see that. That's the thing that made him decide to do the time travel thing, was getting water on the picture of them hugging.
Yeah.
That's what prompted him. Yeah. Yeah. Because he just told the Avengers, like, no, I have too much to lose. I have a child. And then he's looking at that picture and he's like, I had a kid I was responsible for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally,
he felt responsible, whether he literally was or not. He felt responsible.
And it's not unlike Robin, but I think that it's more personal and genuine than Robin in a lot of ways, because he was more than just his ward. He was the next generation. I think that Batman doesn't see Robin as the next Batman.
I absolutely agree. I agree.
He's the guy who he catches when they're doing acrobatic shit.
Brief side tangent.
Because it's a huge theme in these movies, the concept of worthy, and we've joked about it before. So you have the godlike celestial worthy of Thor and the hammer, and then you have the very earthbound worthiness that Tony saw. Tony met every superhuman that existed in his lifetime, space and on Earth. There was one person he thought he could trust to do the right thing, even when it was hard. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't trust Cap. Civil War was all about that. Like,
oh yeah.
Fuck, I thought I could trust you to do the right thing. I thought if I was taken down, I could trust you.
No, when he realized that Cap knew about his parents and didn't tell him, that was it. He was done trusting Cap. Like, at least
he couldn't trust Bruce anymore. He felt like he couldn't trust anybody but the kid.
There's an interesting contractual, larger Disney MCU element of this, because Robert Downey Jr. is done. He's not making any more appearances in movies. I mean, at this point. But that's why we didn't get a hologram version of Tony telling Peter, hey, Peter, this is for you. You're responsible for this.
Yeah.
It was an interesting choice. Yeah. Because if he had told him, like, dude, you're the guy, Peter would never have thought, oh, I should give this to you. You're better than me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. You don't need an explanation. You already have a kid. You just don't trust yourself.
Yeah.
So
trust yourself. I know you trust me. So yeah, he didn't take, and he loves to record himself making long messages, but you're right. He didn't. You just put those on and they're automatically connected to Peter Parker. That's all he needed to do. He gave him one joke, which was the name of the glasses.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right. So
I love it.
So
yeah, it's a clever way to navigate that issue, and it causes story elements to happen.
And it's endearing.
So Peter finds
Tony had to explain everything all the time, but not that.
Constantly. Yeah. But not, exactly. Not that. So Peter finds out his class is in London thanks to Flash's live streaming. Uses Tony's onboard machinery to build himself a new suit. We cut to
this made me misty. Happy's just like, cool. The kid gets it.
And like, yeah,
we're doing it.
The way he's like doing the hologram thing, like Tony did, turning the hologram controls and stuff. Yeah.
Yep. You got the suit. I'll take care of the tunes.
Yes. I love Led Zeppelin.
The way he draws out the spider symbol and like spins it.
Yeah.
The hologram spider symbol. I know Tony did that with something else. But yeah, I agree, Brian, Misty, because it's just like, oh, yes, he is the next Iron Man.
Happy has a purpose and Peter has backup.
Yeah.
Like, and he is acknowledging like, shit, it does fall to me.
You're the hero now.
Yeah. It's really poetic. Like the fact
You're
that
not
they're able to
helping
do
the
this
hero
with a humorous needle drop while they're on a plane. Like, all of these elements would not work with a Batman character. You know, like, of course, Bruce Wayne's going to be on an airplane. He's a billionaire. But like, poor kid from Queens,
he just naturally drops into exactly what Tony would do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, and just intuitively figures out that machinery.
Mm-hmm.
That tap.
And that's why Happy makes the joke about the music, because, you know, in the Tony Happy scenario, that was Happy.
Yeah.
You know, you drive the car, you choose the music. You know, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I'll be the genius back here. You be happy.
Yeah,
and so, like, Happy was almost glad to be. He's like, I'll get the music. Like, finally.
That's, you know, that's another aspect too, is Happy actually gets to come around to Peter in this, which is not something that he had at the beginning. So Happy even has his little arc.
Yeah.
And Peter gets to turn it around
like a
on
babysitter.
him.
Yeah.
Peter just finally is like, you know what? I'm not going to tiptoe around this anymore. We need to talk about your relationship with my aunt. He has the upper hand in that dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is interesting for a guy who's sleeping with your, you know, essentially your mom. You have the upper hand on him somehow, like, because he kept it a secret.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. The only thing that flusters him is May.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen Happy in a lot of movies. The only thing that makes him seem like a sort of little kid.
Well,
is May.
I mean, Marissa Tomei makes me feel that way too. So,
but he and Tony have a brotherhood. They, you know,
yes,
it's like two friends that have known each other for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's a different relationship.
So we cut to London. The class is arriving. Brad calls out Peter being weird and missing. MJ and Ned turn it back on him and make him seem weird for taking pictures in the bathroom.
JB Smoove, man, teacher of the year. Hey, man, that's not cool. You shouldn't be taking pictures of the people in the bathroom for any reason.
You can't be doing that. JB Smoove. Just a shout out, JB Smoove as that plant. Well, I can't remember the plant's name, but on the Harley Quinn. Yeah, Frank the Plant.
Speaking, I was going to mention this earlier.
It's pollen season, motherfucker.
When we were talking about Batman and Robin. Have you guys watched the new season yet of Harley Quinn?
Yes.
First 3 episodes.
I love that with Batman and Nightwing. Like, don't you think your voice is a little over dramatic? I think it's the right amount of dramatic.
Totally.
Well, and he says, I'm not Batman. I'm Nightwing. I'm not Robin. I'm Nightwing.
Constantly.
Because he's not Batman. It's totally different, quote unquote.
Right. And I love the freaking macaroni.
You're writing with the macaroni. Fuck the macaroni.
Yeah.
I want to know how the macaroni got into the Bat family. So, all right. They get on a double-decker bus for a sightseeing tour, but it's run by Mysterio's men.
Driven by the script guy, the story dude.
Yeah.
What's his name? Roots?
Yeah. Love the
Goots.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Nick Fury and Maria Hill are in a building monitoring a spiking energy reading while hologram Mysterio flies around. Real Mysterio is on the tower bridge conducting his illusions and planning to kill Nick and Maria and the kids. He creates a giant elemental in the Thames and the city starts freaking out.
He's really 3 birds, 1 stoning this whole situation. The planning for this is incredible. I mean, of course, for the movie. But like, I'm going to get them onto the bridge. That's where the attack's going to happen. It's right next to where Fury is set up. I can do this and become the Avengers level hero all in one move.
Yeah.
To me, it's like this is one of the more clever villains we've ever had.
Absolutely.
It's like a Zemo level of like, I have all of the steps planned out.
I feel like Mysterio didn't really think through what was going to happen after his plan ended, because what happens if he becomes that Avengers level hero and then a Thanos shows up, a real Thanos shows up? What's he going to do?
Illusions?
Yeah. They're illusions, Michael.
Yeah, I think that take a lot of work to trick all of the remaining Avengers too.
Yeah. Bruce Banner, I think, is going to have some questions. So Peter gets in his new suit. Happy first calls Nick Fury, gives him a secret code to tip him off that Mysterio's the bad guy. Peter gets in.
You left your surfboard. What?
Yeah. Did they set that up ahead of time? Because that's an obtuse like.
No, that was not set up ahead of time. That was very clunky.
Yeah.
I think it was the clunkiness that allowed Fury to figure it out. It's like, my surfboard, bitch?
Yeah, why are you calling? Oh, wait, that's weird.
Oh, things are not always as they appear. Don't call me. Don't call me back.
Yeah. So Peter gets in his new suit. He glides down into the middle of the elementals while
we got flying Spider-Man.
Yes, with the
we finally get flying Spider-Man.
Yes.
The 60s costume lives on.
The flying Spider-Man, and I would at the end of this is the first time in the MCU we get Spidey swinging around Manhattan too.
With the best swinging we've ever seen.
That's some good swinging. Yeah.
All the action in this was really good, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way that Peter planned his response to everything that Mysterio does was so well planned. It made every action shot made sense.
Yeah.
Like character development wise and plot wise. Nothing was like, whoa, what was happening there? I'm confused. For a lot of flying shit happening, they did a really good job.
Yeah, you could track everything. You could track the action. There was no of that Transformers bullshit where it's like, it's just CGI flying at me.
We did not address the mechanics of building destruction in Venice like we have in the past.
That's right. How did we get to Venice and not
extraordinary, gentlemen?
God damn it. We missed our opportunity.
But we did have to see Spider-Man once again trying to hold up two heavy things.
Yes. Oh my God. Does he get himself into that?
Got to be in a bridge.
That situation constantly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Happy lands near the kids on the bus to rescue them. The plane gets blown up, so they run into the Tower of London.
We get befuddled Happy. No, I don't work for Spider-Man. I work with Spider-Man. It's a very important distinction for him because he worked for Tony, but he doesn't work for Peter.
Yeah. MJ is really happy to be able to swing a mace around.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't get medieval on that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're in the Crown Jewels vault.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody ever watch Sherlock, the show?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a great scene of Moriarty stealing the crown jewels.
Yeah, I remember
up
that.
there. It's fucking badass.
I love how the Queen's Guard are shooting at the drones at the Tower of London.
Yeah.
That was a cool in-universe thing because, of course, they have guns. That's their job.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've been to the tower. Yeah. There's literally guards with guns there.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So let's see. The drones chase him into the vault. Peter lands inside the illusion. He destroys a bunch of drones, disrupts the illusion. So Mysterio attacks him with the drones. Peter dodges them. His friends are trapped in the vault. He eventually makes it to Mysterio, who is injured, lying on the ground, monologuing. At this point, Peter realizes it's a fake and is able to dodge a bullet from the real Mysterio, who's standing next to him, invisible. Mysterio got hit by a drone bullet and falls to the floor. Peter takes the Edith glasses and calls off the drone strike.
But
execute what was the question that Edith asked?
Like all weapons armed?
Do you want me to execute all commands? Yeah.
But it's the thing that gets mismatched, quilt worked back into execute them all.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if he had if he had said do it or affirmative.
Yeah.
Or, but
anything,
those words condemn him for the whole.
Yeah.
Make Rocket go now.
Yeah, exactly. Ghost Rider, that panel's full.
Yeah. As Mysterio dies, one of his guys records Peter on the bridge, downloads the footage to a USB drive, and makes his escape.
And he has control over 500 drones.
Yes.
So I suspect we may see Ralph again. Because that's Ralphie from Iron Man 1 and Christmas Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So his
flashback was actually legit. Jake's was hilarious. Like he was Steve Jobs standing back.
Slick back hair in his turtleneck.
But yeah, Peter Billingsley, that was actually a flashback.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
But I expect him to show back up as the Tinkerer using this drone technology in some way.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Because we thought the Tinkerer maybe was the dude from the first one.
Yeah.
The one that was like modifying the tech.
I thought they
for Michael
verified
Keaton.
that he was supposed to be the Tinkerer.
I thought we had talked about them, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
But they could easily make Ralphie somebody else in universe.
Yeah. So as let's see, MJ finds Peter on the bridge. They kiss. She says she likes him. He likes her. Teenagers in love.
Let's smash.
I, for the longest time, thought that picture going around the internet of Peter kissing the guy in the green suit was real.
It was what?
It was real. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, they replaced Zendaya with
a guy in a green
man.
A green man. Yeah, and it's Peter kissing it. For the longest time, I thought that was real because she couldn't be there to film.
It's just Green Man from Always Sunny.
Yeah. Happy meets up with Nick Fury, tells Nick that Peter's going to call him, not the other way around. We cut to them arriving home in Newark. Peter and MJ are a couple now. Ned and Betty have broken up, though. It's amicable.
A summer fling.
Yeah, summer fling.
It was a consensual uncoupling.
Tell me why. Tell me. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That's a filthy.
That movie, that play. Ooh, yeah.
Did she put up a fight,
like
Spider-Man?
Like Jesus Christ, 70s. We see that Flash's mom didn't have time to pick him up. That was a weird little character moment for Flash.
Yeah, they're doing something with Flash really subtly throughout these movies. That's interesting.
Yeah.
He has a house party that no parents are there for. His mom's not willing to come pick him up.
Yeah.
Like, this will pay off eventually.
He gets in the third movie. He's actually sweet. He feels bad for them, and anyway.
Well, and he's going to MIT.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he's going to get some technological education, and he will always be jealous of Spider-Man, probably.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know that he's Peter.
Riri Williams goes to MIT. We're going to meet her soon. Not that they're going to tie Flash in, but you know what I mean?
But yeah, they may be building that younger universe out around MIT because Tony went to MIT.
He's not jealous of Flash is not jealous of Spider-Man. He's envious. Or he idolizes him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He idolizes him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does. I don't know. Maybe at some point, I think we're going to get Flash like we've seen in the comics and the cartoons. At some point, I think we're going to get Flash trying to impersonate Spider-Man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like putting on a spider suit, and
we do have a symbiote in our universe
trying to be him.
He asks in the latest movie. He does ask Peter how he can do, because Peter's like, the spider's dead. Like it's been dead for a while.
I forgot about that.
He's like, can he bite me?
I forgot
Spider's
about
dead,
that question.
Flash. Like, because he's just barraging him with not just like, how does this work? How does it? But like, how do I become a Spider-Man? I want to be. Yeah. And again, another reference to the spider bite we never had to,
actually sit
see.
through. Yeah.
But yeah, it's dead now. It's dead. But
So yeah, Aunt May picks up Peter later at home. Peter talks to May and Happy about their romance. Happy thinks they're dating. May thinks it's just a summer fling.
Summer flings.
That's rough, man. You don't want Marissa Tomei to tell you it was just a fling.
Hey, better to have loved and lost than never loved Marissa Tomei at all.
Yeah, you can't pin her down. She's like the wind.
If you love Marissa Tomei, let her go.
Like Costanza.
If she comes back. What was up with the 90s with like short Italian or short New Yorkers and Marissa Tomei?
Joe Pesci.
Pesci. George Costanza. Yeah.
That family was very Italian. Wink, wink.
Yeah, the Costanzas. So anyways, Spidey swings around Manhattan. He picks up MJ and takes her swinging, and she hates it. I loved that so much.
Her screams echoing off the buildings.
The contrast.
I'm not gonna
so
look.
well done.
The contrast to the both earlier series where like Kirsten Dunst and what's her face
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone are like holding on to him and just like looking on and wonder like, oh,
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so amazing. It's like, no. Oh, fuck this.
yeah, fuck
It's like
this.
it's like Lois flying with Superman, just touching his
Damn it,
finger.
Bart. Damn it. That's what I was going to say. It's
this
like
is what-
parallel flying to Superman just touching his hand.
Whereas
I was
in
so
reality-
used to it.
Lois would be vomiting because of all the G's.
Yeah.
You know,
I would have
she'd be
passed out.
unconscious. Yeah, literally
That's
not
too
handling
high.
it. Okay.
At the one point before the credits roll, like they swing up and he totally just lets her go.
Yeah.
And,
He
and
drives her.
you hear the scream before he grabs her again.
This man is sticky.
So he's sticky.
He intentionally dropped that woman.
Yeah.
He did that on
Sticky to rock
purpose.
around, to rock around. It's sticky.
So yeah,
Well,
credit.
I mean, she likes a roller coaster ride,
yeah, but
this is not the same.
no, that's
Yeah, there
insane.
are rails on a roller coaster ride. You're in a car with a seatbelt on. This is a teenager.
Yeah, so credits roll, but then in the mid-credits sequence, Peter lands.
Well, wait, hold on. The very last shot is so in the first one it was Aunt May going, "What the fuck?" And then in this one it was Peter
Right.
We'll get there.
when Jay Jonah on the jumbotron.
Yeah. In the mid-credits, he lands with MJ, and on the big screen.
Oh, you were right.
In the big
My
screen,
bad.
we see Triple J, Jay Jonah. We've got
Alex Jones.
right before that,
Infowars, yeah.
before they land, she's like shouting, "You can put me down now. You can put me down now."
Yeah. And we get our original Jay Jonah back.
With the doctored footage of Mysterio.
With the doctored footage of Mysterio, in which he blames Spider-Man for the drone attack and reveals to the world that he's Peter Parker. And we get the what the
with the Home Alone hands on the face.
Yes.
Yep.
So well done.
Yeah, and then in the after-credits sequence, Nick Fury and Maria Hill are revealed to be Skrulls. Talos and Soren is her name. And Nick Fury is off-planet on a Skrull spaceship.
They discussed telling Fury or not.
Yeah.
It was a simple job. We gave him the sunglasses. Should we tell him? No. Like, it's so casual to the two of them.
I mean, yeah, maybe it speaks to how sort of out in the ether Nick Fury is, like you guys were saying earlier. Like, what agency is he running? What agency is he working for? Who is he even? So it's like, should we even tell him? When this all began, he was the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now he's on a need to know.
They don't say as much, but this is Fury and the Skrulls working on Sword, right?
I don't know.
I think so, right?
So.
Yeah, they're building new visions.
But there's no space station yet, because Sword was based out of an outer, like a far Earth orbit space station.
I mean, is it? It didn't feel like in WandaVision that Sword was in any way related to Nick Fury, but
No, it didn't.
Well, and it's probably Nick Fury using existing government. That's probably how they'll spin it. Is like, oh, within the agency Sword, I was siphoning off funds to create a space station and fight with the Skrulls or something. Because Fury's secrets have secrets.
Yeah.
Sure. There was a neat instance, where Spider-Man's suggesting heroes, and he mentions Captain Marvel, and it's Talos, not Fury, but he's like, don't invoke her name. It's the real serious kind of moment for, where they've introduced themselves, Peter Parker and Carol Danvers and stuff. But he says it very seriously, in a holy way, like you're not supposed to say a lot.
Well, because she is
say that.
She is the savior of the Skrull race, essentially.
That's what I mean.
Which is
That's what I mean.
cool.
But it's a neat little
Yeah, it ties back. At this moment, we realize oh, that's why.
That's Talos talking.
Yeah.
That's just
Fury.
the Talos talking. Put down the bottle.
Fury obviously looks up to her, but not at the same reverence that the Talos would.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, she's almost
she saved his
demigod-like.
Yeah, she saved his whole race. Like, yeah. So I don't know. Final thoughts, guys, before we rank it?
I like it a lot. As I said before, I don't see it as a sequel necessarily. I think it's a really great Spider-Man movie. They took a character, once again, that could have been lame and made him so very satisfying. Mysterio, that is.
Yeah, absolutely.
This would have been a 10-comic run of a thing that wouldn't have been part of his overarching story necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was a really fun Spider-Man adventure, and the only part that really connects to anything else is at the very end. That isn't part of just like this Spidey adventure.
Right.
So, well, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and rank it. I'm up here towards the top of the list. Our number one, our top Spider-Man is Spider-Man 2 at number 15, and Homecoming is directly below it.
Is this better than Homecoming, though?
That's.
I really liked Home.
I liked Homecoming too.
What about right under Homecoming? I still love Spider-Man 2 in a lot of ways for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, Spider-Man 2 is in some ways like
it's the perfect comic book movie.
Yeah.
And he was allowed to direct his own movie.
It was like
as opposed to the first or third.
It was kind of like a perfect comic book movie. It was like a Raimi movie through and through, kind of like you were saying, Josh. Like, it was great in so many ways. So, all right. Al, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I mean, I could lean towards what has been said. Is it quite as good as Homecoming? Homecoming was so sharp and
yeah.
Homecoming nailed it.
Yeah, I agree. There's no way it's not as good as the Deadpool movies. It's better than those.
Yeah.
This movie nailed it as well, but yeah, I want to put it below Homecoming. Homecoming was so good.
You make a good point though, because the first one was so tight. We knew exactly not where we were headed, but like the story was clean and clear. This movie moves from place to place to place to place to place to place to place, has multiple elements happening all at the same time, whether Fury is real or an illusion.
Yeah.
The first one set up this universe so clean, so succinctly. It's just Homecoming was like, here's your Spider-Man, here's your new Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what about right under that?
Yeah, I like 17 for it.
All right, let's do it then. We're putting Spider-Man Far From Home at number 17. We got 3 Spideys here, all in a row.
Sounds like a nursery rhyme or some sort of vaguely offensive Mother Goose. All right.
So that is it for Spider-Man Far From Home, which means it's time for us to look forward to our 145th superhero movie.
Wow.
Yikes.
That's impressive.
Yeah, the first one, which wasn't released when we started this podcast. It's the end of our original list and the start of our addendums, and it's going to be Joker.
Oh yes.
Okay.
I still haven't seen this.
Really?
Oh my God.
I only recently did. It took me forever.
I saw it once when it opened. And
I've only seen it the one time in the theaters, yeah.
So, but I mean, Al, you've seen Taxi Driver, right?
Yes.
Then you've seen Joker.
Yeah.
You've seen Joker.
And
Taxi Driver with makeup.
Yeah.
King of Comedy too is the other one.
King of Comedy.
King of Comedy.
It's a late 70s.
I'm probably going to watch those as well as this.
Scorsese homage through and through. Yeah.
I am ready to be. We're going to probably disagree about so many elements of this movie. I'm ready for it.
I don't know. I haven't seen it since it opened. I have feelings about it, but they're all just retrospect feelings. So we'll see what a new viewing of it makes me think.
I have a quick guess. I have a quick self-serving shout out. I recently applied to a local comic book store in my neighborhood. It's where I shop. I'm very excited. I informed them that we have a weekly superhero-themed podcast. So if anyone there has been listening, hey.
Give this man a job.
Give Josh a job.
Give me a job. I'm in the same universe that you're in, same multiverse.
Yeah, there's no one who's more qualified to work at a comic book shop, guys. Hire this man.
Seriously.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks.
So, all right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Harmless Phosphorescence. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's been a long, dramatic, somewhat confusing road here with your host, the Rose Smiley.
I'm Josh Cece, and stay sticky.
I'm Brian Leshin. This was for my family.
I came for science. I'm leaving because of witches. I'm Alaric Weber.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.